In a journal club, my students selected a paper that they wanted to read and present. I found that the paper was not written well. The students were not aware of it before I explained some details of my thoughts. Let's talk about its abstract today. You will see what could go wrong with an abstract of a paper that was already peer-reviewed and published. Our keyword today is the structural components of an abstract. Hi everyone, welcome to the Foundational Skills in Life Sciences podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Synaptologica. We discuss the skills that life science scholars learn, use, and improve throughout professional activities. Your benefit is expressed in my motto, learn the skills, enjoy academic life. Today's episode. In our episodes so far, we have been discussing how to read an abstract of a life science paper. Specifically, it is about how to read an abstract of a primary research paper. In today's episode, I would like to talk about one paper that my students wanted to read in a journal club. First, I will tell you how this specific journal club will proceed. There are multiple types of journal clubs. The type can depend on which school you are in, the field of research, a course, or a specific laboratory. In this specific journal club, 5 to 10 medical students will come together in a meeting room. A few of them have already selected a paper that they wanted to read, and those students will present the content of the paper to the rest of the group. After the presentation, all students will discuss the paper. After the entire discussion is over, then it will be my turn. I will present my thoughts to the students. This way, I will help my students understand the structure and the content of the paper. In a recent journal club presentation, my students selected one paper. It was a clinical paper. Specifically, it was about type 2 diabetes mellitus. The field of research does not matter here. The paper was published in a standard journal that publishes peer-reviewed primary research papers. It was a full paper, that is, it had multiple figures and tables. It was not an abbreviated letter format. We would expect that the paper will follow our standard framework of how an abstract is constructed. Before talking about the specific abstract, let's briefly review our structural framework. That's because the structural framework will be very important when we talk about that abstract. A well-written abstract will often have 8 structural components. And one of the key points is that when the components are described in a specific order, the logic of the abstract will flow smoothly, and so the abstract will read nicely. Here are the 8 structural components and their order. 1. The background. 2. The known. 3. The unknown. 4. The result overview. 5. The methods. 6. The results. 7. The conclusions. And 8. The implications. We already made a list of these components, and we explained the individual components in detail. If you're not sure about them, or if you are new to my podcast, please check the episode 39. It has the title, 8 Key Components Define the Abstract Structure. Now, there are many papers that are not well written, and this paper was one of them. The paper had very many deficiencies. Let's talk about the abstract of the paper, and specifically the structure of the abstract only. I say only because the paper has so many deficiencies in addition to the structure, and we will not talk about them here. So how did the abstract read? The abstract started abruptly with a part of what the authors found. Then it was followed by the aim of the work, and then how they did the work, and then what they found. The authors did not explain what the work was all about in general and what was known in the field before in relation to the work. Using my terminology, these features translate into the following. The abstract started with a part of the results component, then the unknown component. Then it went to the methods and the results components. So the authors skipped the background and the known components at the start of the abstract. In addition, they skipped the result overview component between the unknown and the results components. And furthermore, the results component was broken into two parts, with the first part shown at the very start of the abstract and the second part shown at the middle of the abstract. Not only the logic of the abstract was unclear, but also the writing was too dry for us outside the field. Overall, we did not understand why the work was done, and we did not understand what the authors were thinking when they wrote the abstract. Simply said, the abstract was very unhelpful for us readers. I think we can learn at least 2 lessons from this experience. Lesson 1. Good structural organization will help the readers understand the content. The 8 structural components of an abstract are very important, and we will be able to understand them better if those structural components are presented in a reader-friendly order. So when you read an abstract, let's identify the structural components and think about how they are organized. Lesson 2. Abstracts of peer-reviewed papers can be disorganized. A surprising thing for me in this experience was that the medical students did not know that peer-reviewed published papers could be disorganized. So it was surprising for me to see that they were surprised. When you read an abstract, you might not understand the content. Then it is possible that the abstract is well written, but you do not understand it. But on the other hand, it is also possible that the abstract is not well written, and that is the reason why you do not understand the content. Again, I would recommend you identify the structural components and how they are organized. It will help your reading and understanding. And it is helpful to know that some papers might not be written well, unfortunately for readers. So I think my students learned a lot from this single experience, and I thanked them for choosing a juicy paper. I hope you learned something important from today's episode too. Your action. If you happen to find an abstract of any paper that is not written so well, try analyzing the structural components and examine what is missing and what is wrong with the structure. If you are not sure about how to analyze an abstract, please let me know. We can work on it together. My email address is ideas@synaptologica.com. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of Foundational Skills in Life Sciences. I'm Dr. Synaptologica. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.